What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Channel Musi Gamer, and today I'm here to give you a brand new strategy guide series that is going to be called The Art of War. Now, The Art of War is actually an ancient Chinese military strategy or principles that were most famously followed by Sun Tzu to win many different wars that he has faced. Now, for my channel, what this series will do is I'll actually go over every single details of the strategies that I've learned at each and every situations that I could possibly imagine. For example, let's say you're fighting a KVK and you are not really winning the field, and the enemy has completely kind of wiped out everything that is in your area, and your city is kind of caught in the middle. What can you basically do to best trade positive even in those situations? For example, things like cheeseburgering stuff could be one of the many different scenarios that you can actually trade positive on those. What kind of commanders are best used for those things and so forth. So this is more of a strategy guide for that will overarch every single scenarios that you could face in Rise of Kingdoms. And I thought it would be a good idea for me to provide this information. For one, is because I'm both a garrison and a rally leader that has seen some successes and seen some failures. And I thought it would be really helpful for me to share with the community what I've learned from many different rally and garrisoning experience that I've experienced for the last 1100 days of me playing Rise of Kingdoms. So that's basically what this series is about. This is kind of the examples of the contents that I'm going to be talking about as well. And here's basically how this Art of War series will play out. So over the next, I don't know how many weeks, but then again, over the next few weeks, I'll be releasing a chapter, a video per chapter. So I have listed out 7 different chapters. I might add a little bit more to this, or I might take out some of those. But then again, each chapter and each video will be talking about the basics and the strategies that you can actually use for each of those topics. For example, troop basics. So in the next the chapter 1 of the series, I'll be talking about, okay, well, you what kind of troops there are. There's obviously archers, infantry, and cavalry, and then how they counter each other. And then there's also siege units that can be used to kind of form the range formation and all that stuff uh, nowadays in 2025, right? And when I go into those things, I'll also talk about, okay, well, against siege commanders, what might be the best way for you to actually fight against them, right? Because let's say your enemies have a bunch of different siege towers kind of set up. What might be the best way for you to actually attack against those? Like there's several other strategies that I can think of just off top of my head, such as just maximizing your counterattack damage to make sure that they all trade very negatively, or, things like, oh, well, you might want to utilize cavalry, murder ball, and then try to just chase down, close the gap, and then destroy them before they actually kill you and all that stuff. So there's a bunch of different things that we can talk about in those scenarios, and that's basically what I would talk about at each video. Damage basics, for example, I would talk about things like, okay, well, what kind of damages are there? There's a smite damage, there's normal damage, there is combo damage, and there's true damage. There's also direct damage. And there's also basic attack damage, there's counter attack damage, and how they work. And all those different elements of it will be very important and very interesting to talk about, in my opinion. So going over each and every one of those. I also made a video previously about how much of like what's the proportion of the damage that, let's say, like full full Arthur would actually do in terms of the skill damage versus the auto attack damage versus the counter attack damage, and how that might scale as like a number of like targets that are hitting you increases and so forth. So I think that basic those information will be very, very helpful for people who are just playing the game for the very first time, or people who have played the game for a while, but then again, didn't really pay too much attention to those like little details on how the calculations goes and stuff. I thought it would be a very cool idea for me to talk about it. And then it goes into farm basics. And it's pretty self-explanatory how you make a farm, how they can help you in combat and all that stuff. And then if you go into open fielding, rallying, and garrisoning, and then range, can talk about things like, okay, well, in the open field, how can you actually try to avoid taking as much damage as possible? How can you try to make sure that you get the best results out of it? One thing is like making sure that you don't go out of your murder ball of your alliance is one of the key ways, and how you can basically uh, do that in the in-game settings and whatnot. Those are the things that I'll be talking about in the open field. So hence is talking about the basics and then also the strategies that you can actually use to make sure that you get the best trade possible in open field. And rallying and garrisoning, things I talked about before, whereas like it will might be the best way for you to rally and garrison against specific comp. There's multiple different types of rallies and garrisons that you can actually face. Some of them are anti-swarm, some of them are not. And then if you're facing against anti-swarming, rally, or garrison, then you can take on different kind of strategies for you to best combat this and then so forth. So those are the things that I will be talking about in those videos. And yeah, here are some of the examples. So of some of my topics and how I always show it in this particular series. So, for example, how to minimize the damage from city rally. So, when you're taking a rally from someone else, and what might be the best ways for you to actually make sure that you don't take on as many deaths as possible while you're incurring as much deaths as possible to the enemy rally is one of the things that I would talk about. And also at the same time, this is another topic, how to best support garrison while getting rallied. And let's say you don't have the field. If you have the field, I think that will be pretty self-explanatory. But then again, even if you have the field, there are cases where you don't really want to swarm the rally because of the fact that some rallies, like anything that has Pakal, would actually get stronger if you try to rally, try to swarm it as much as possible, right? So things like that, how to best support your garrison while getting rallied, whether it's in one's or like one kind of scenario versus the other. For example, if you're facing a Nevsky Justinian rally, then you might really want to swarm that rally down versus, let's say, Attila Subutai rally or Attila Takeda rally. You might not want to kind of swarm that garrison down, but rather just go ahead and reinforce things like that. Things like Pekal also is a great example of how you don't want to swarm those kind of rally because of how his skills actually makes him take less damage as more things are hitting him. So yeah, so those are the basic things that I'll be talking about, or like the strategies that I'll be talking about throughout this series at the end of the day. So yeah, I hope you guys actually enjoy this introduction video. I hope you guys are as excited about this series as I am because I am super hyped about this. And I need to actually take some time to go into my own researches and make sure that, let's say, like if you're attacking an archer army as a cavalry army, you'll do like I think you do like 5% more damage and then you take 5% less damage. But is that really true? I need to go and research that for you so that you guys have the most accurate information possible for my upcoming episodes of this Art of War series. So, and again, I'm super excited about it. I hope you guys are also very excited about this as well. And if you guys did find this video helpful, please go ahead and drop a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on the upcoming tips that I'm about to give you with this brand new Art of War series, Rise of Kingdom strategy series at the end of the day. All right. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. And as always, I'll see you all in the next video. All right. Peace.